If your corporate experience is anything like mine, you've spent a tremendous amount of time in meetings over the years. Hundreds or maybe even thousands of meetings, ranging from highly productive to a virtual waste of time. A couple of recent surveys that I've been reading suggest that unproductive meetings waste more than $37 billion yearly in corporate America. That's partly because we spend so much time in meetings. The same survey reports that there are 25 million meetings per day in the United States, which represents about 15% of an organization's collective time. Middle managers spend about 35% of their time in meetings, and upper management spends 50% of their time in meetings. The survey also reports that most people in corporate America spend about 4 hours per week just preparing for potential status updates that they might be asked to give in a meeting they're attending. Now, all of us have personally had that unfortunate experience at one time or another of either spending that 4 hours getting prepared in case you're asked a question and the question never comes, or even worse, not spending the proper amount of time to prep for the meeting and then you're the first person they call on. From my perspective, most meetings fall in one of two categories. They're either crystal ball meetings, where the primary objective of the meeting is planning, forecasting, and sometimes even strategizing. And then the second type of meeting that's far less common than the crystal ball meeting is what I call the rearview mirror meeting. This type of meeting is more commonly known as a debriefing, and unfortunately, in my experience, crystal ball meetings outnumber rearview mirror meetings about 4 to 1. Now I say unfortunately because there's no comparison between what you can see in the rearview mirror versus what you have to struggle to discern in the crystal ball. We all know and believe the hindsight is 20/20 idiom, and that's probably because it's easy to relate to and it's pretty accurate. Using the rearview mirror method for debriefing effectively requires just a few simple best practices. Now, I've learned these powerful debriefing steps in my military aviation career, and I still use them effectively, both in the corporate setting and on the airshow circuit when I'm demonstrating the flight characteristics of the vintage fighter planes that I own. No flight is complete until the debrief is complete. Start by acknowledging this tool's power and pledge to make it an integral part of your organizational culture. A reasonable goal is just to try to reach parity in the number of debriefing meetings that you hold versus the number of planning meetings. Next, you're going to need to establish a systematic structure for conducting your debriefings. You should decide in advance when you're going to reconvene for the debrief. Then you need to commit to a safe environment that allows everybody to speak freely without fear of retribution or reprisal. Create review objectives that are going to be used in the debriefing in advance, and then put them in writing. Then comprehensively recap the events that took place since the last meeting and refine and optimize your future actions accordingly. I like to think of this process in terms of the 5 R's. Reconvene, reset the tone, review the objectives, then recap the actions, and refine the process. Using these 5 simple steps has helped me greatly enhance productivity in the corporate setting, and over the years it's literally been a lifesaver in my aviation experiences. They can do the same for you. If you really want to supercharge your organization and magnify your competitive advantage, learn to use the rearview mirror method to its full effect. Oh, and if you do have one of those crystal balls lying around that does show the future, call me. I'm pretty sure we can put it to good use.